Okay, so as promised to look at number 9. Now number 9 might not look bad to start with. You might say, hey, I can just cross multiply the way we talked about in an earlier video. And you can. There's one term on each side, so you can multiply x plus 3 by 3 minus 2x. And on the other side, it would be x plus 2 times 5 plus 3x. And then you would need to multiply through or to FOIL. So first will be 3x, outer will be minus 2x squared, inner will be plus 9, and last will be minus 6x. And the good news about my videos is you can always rewind them and play them again. Okay, so if you didn't see what I just did there, I just did first, outer, inner, last in that order. And then I'll do the same on the other side. First, so 5x, outer, plus 3x squared, inner, plus 10, and last, plus 6x. Okay? And so now we can write this in an order that maybe looks a little, or like, we can put our 3x and our 6x together. So negative 2x squared plus 9 minus 3x on this side. And on this side, I'm going to write my 3x squared term first. 5x plus 6x would be plus 11x plus 10. Okay, and what you might notice is, like, I can take this 2x squared over to where the 3x squared is, but they're not going to cancel this time. I'm going to get 5x squared. And I could take my negative 3x over, and it would become positive, so it would be 14x. And I could take my 9 over, it becomes negative 9, so 10 minus 9 plus 1 equals 0. This is the first question of all those other ones that you would have done up here where the x squared term doesn't cancel. It should have canceled in all the others. This is a trinomial. And back when you were little in grade 10, you learned how to factor them. Remember, you had like x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. And you would have done x, and you would have said, oh, they're both positive, so this needs to be a plus, and this needs to be a plus. And what two numbers multiply together to give me 8 and add together to give me 6, and you would have put the 2 here and the 4 here, right? And then if this bracket times this bracket is 0, then either, if you get a 0 when you multiply two numbers together, it means either the first bracket must be equal to 0, x plus 4 must equal 0, or the second bracket must equal 0, x plus 2 equals 0. And then you can solve for x. So either x must be negative 4 or x must be negative 2. Remember doing this somewhere in your earlier math life? If you want to check them, fill the negative 4 in, it becomes 16. When you square it, negative 4 times 6 is 24. Negative 24, so 16 minus 24 is minus 8, plus 8 is 0. So this one works. When you fill a negative 2 in, 2 squared is 4. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12, plus 8, again it's 0. So they both work. Whenever you have an equation that has an x squared in it, it means you're going to have two answers. If you just have a single x, it's just going to be one answer. But if you have an x squared, there'll be two answers. If you have an x cubed, there'll be three answers. Guess how many answers if there's an x to the fourth? Okay, so you would have learned this, and you maybe also would have learned completing the square. I'm not 100% sure, but I know you would have learned the factoring, and I think you would have learned completing the square. Now, if we look down here at this one, like, this is going to be painful to factor. Like, what two numbers multiply together to give me 5 and add together? Yeah, it's not going to be a nice, pretty, like 2 and 4. So there's another way. This is called a quadratic equation. And there is another way that will always work when you're trying to solve quadratic equations. And you will learn it this semester in math. If you were in the advanced 10 math, you may have learned it last year, but even if you aren't, you will learn it this semester. It's called the quadratic formula. And it's derived, but I will leave it for your math teachers to derive for you when they get there. But what it is, and it's going to look really weird for a minute, but okay, but don't stress, it'll be okay. So it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, just for the record, I can hear you from here saying, what the heck, I'm dropping this course. Don't do it. Don't do it. This will help you in math. This is a formula that mathematicians figured out years ago to make our life easy. So for Pete's sakes, don't drop a course because I'm showing you something that's going to make your life easy. It just looks weird right now because you don't understand the a, b's, and c's. So in this quadratic equation, it is possible that last year your math teacher would have said you always have to write it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Remember that? And so that's why I have it written as the x squared term plus the x term plus the whole number term. The a is just the number in front of the x. So in this particular case, a equals 1. The b, because it's the number in front of the x squared term. The b is the number in front of the x term. So in this case, b equals 6. And the c is the whole number term. So in this case, c equals 8. We can use these three things then and get our two answers. So let's do it. X equals negative b, so negative 6. Plus or minus is just going to end us up with the two answers. And I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. Don't worry about it right now. Square root b squared, so 6 squared, minus 4a, a was 1. C is 8. And then it's all divided by 2 times a, which was 1. So on the top, we have x equals negative 6 plus, and I'll do the minus separately. We just write it this way to shorten it, okay? So plus 6 squared is 36. Oh, actually, maybe I'll do the plus and minus in a minute. I'll leave the minus there for now. 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times 1 times 8. 4 times 1 is about 4 times 8 is 32 divided by 2. 36 minus 2. I'm hoping you're saying 4. And it's the square root of 4 over 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. So we get, I'm just going to go over here. One of our answers then is x equals negative 6 plus 2, because the square root of 4 is 2, over 2. And our other answer is x equals negative 6 minus 2 over 2. So what is negative 6 plus 2? It's negative 4. Divided by 2 is negative 2. So one of our answers is x equals negative 2. Our other answer, negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. Divided by 2 is negative 4. Our other answer, so that should be an equal sign, is negative 4, which is what we found right up here. Now you might say, why the heck would I go through all this when I can just factor it? You're right, factoring's the easiest way when it works. It doesn't work for this one. So for this one, the easiest route will be to use this formula. In this formula, I have nicely written for you in the ax squared plus bx plus c form. So here, a is equal to 5, b is equal to 14, and c is equal to 1. Now you try to see if you can get the two answers. They are not going to be as pretty. They're going to have a square root in them. They're going to be a little ugly. They're not going to be nice whole numbers. If they were, we would have been able to factor it on our own. Okay, so give a shot to number 9 to finish it. We'll see this later in the course. Don't panic. And every time we use it, I'll remind you of the formula. So don't worry about it. Don't drop physics because I've showed you this. Actually, in a month or so when you learn it in math, you'll all be like, we learned this in physics months ago. And all will be well. Okay? So give it a try. Thank you.